Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Tom Stoppard's The Real Thing is back on Broadway, this time at the Roundabout Theatre. Under the direction of Sam Gold, it stars Ewan McGregor and Maggie Gyllenhaal, who are making their Broadway debuts opposite Cynthia Nixon and Josh Hamilton. And I caught up with the cast here on opening night. Welcome to Broadway, your
Thank
debut.
you.
How does it feel?
Fantastic, yeah. It's just incredible, sort of slightly overwhelming, really. I mean, it's been a wonderful experience rehearsing and performing this play. We've been open for 4 weeks, and but tonight was something else. Yeah, I sort of was all day just telling myself, you're just going to do the play, just go in and do the play. But of course, it doesn't feel like that. You're going out there going, you know, the audience are full of your peers and your loved ones and people whose opinions you respect, and so it does lift it into some other realm, and yeah, I'm exhausted now.
Let's talk about working on this play. Talk about working with Stoppard's words and what you love about this play and his words and his language.
It's amazing thoughts. It's an incredibly thought-provoking play, and I found that reading it, the first time I read it, I knew I wanted to do it because it's such an incredible role, Henry, and the writing is so beautiful and delicious. And but every time I went back, so really from my first reading, that was it. I was committed to doing it. But every time I went back to it, hello, darling.
Hello, darling.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
You look lovely.
I just thought I'd interrupt.
Yeah, that's nice. You look gorgeous.
Both of your Broadway debuts tonight.
We can kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah,
if I just join
yeah.
you.
Why not? Half
You want
it.
to stay with us?
Sure.
We were just talking about what it was like working on Tom Stoppard. He just started telling me what it was like. What's it been like for you, speaking his language and what you love about him as a wordsmith?
He's a lover. He's just like pretending he's a wordsmith. He's a lover. I think that's at the center of all of it. Who cares about the words if there isn't a heart beating underneath it? And with him, I think there really is, you know, and it's hard to find it. It's like a geode. You have to crack it open, and then inside is love.
Did it help having him in the rehearsal room early on, Stoppard?
Yeah. I thought he was extraordinarily humble, and at the beginning he said to us, you know, because I've written this, you mustn't feel like I've got some kind of inside track on how it should be done or the right way to do it or the right answers. But he said, but I'll happily share my opinions with you and thoughts. And I would say he totally stayed with that, and he really just encouraged us and listened to our questions, listened to our thoughts, thought about his answers very carefully, and yeah, it was wonderful to have him around. It's like having Shakespeare in your rehearsal room when you're doing Shakespeare. I mean, it's an extraordinary situation, isn't it?
What was it like for you, Maggie, having him there?
He scared me, to be honest, because I've always been, since I was like 17 and saw Arcadia in London, like kind of like a blown over, blow my mind kind of fan of his. Like it just goes in like water for me. So I didn't like it when he would come and watch us. It really scared me. And Ewan was actually the only person who knew that. You know? Sometimes he would sort of like poke me when Tom would walk in the room just to let me know he was there. And then I realized what I said to you already, which is that he's a lover and he loves human beings, you know? And so you don't have to be perfect for him or hit it off out of the park or something. I mean, that's not what he's after. He's after humanity ultimately, but thinking humanity, like a smart humanity, you know? And once I realized that, it really relaxed me in terms of my feelings about him.
My final question is, working together, what a beautiful ensemble you all are up there. What it was like rehearsing together and playing the show.
Yeah, it's a wonderful cast. I mean, there's beautiful people to work with, and we've all been absolutely sort of knitted together from day one. I feel like there was never any sort of gelling that had to be done. It seemed to have already been done. I mean, we'd worked together a couple of times before in a small way. We didn't have anything quite as
well, like we had an
like
inkling. I had like an inkling that you were great, you know, but I didn't know for sure, you know. And then you just know for sure. And also I think the director sometimes is part of setting up a situation where there's like there's no way to judge anyone else. There's nothing but love, you know? Like that's how I feel about everybody in the play. It's like, well, that's Charlotte, and that's Max, and that's Henry, and that's Debbie, and there's no judgment, or there's nothing but love, you know, because that's just how it is, and that has a lot to do with Sam and the way I think he set the tone for everything, you know. This is who we all are, you know, like it or not. You know?
It was flawless. Thank you so much. Welcome to Broadway, both
Thank
of
you so much.
I feel really good. I love this play. I love this company. I love the director. I love everything about this. So I'm having a really good time.
Tell me what it was like working on this, creating this in the rehearsal room with the director Sam Gold. Tell me about that.
Well, Sam is so smart and insightful about how to structure the rehearsals and you know, sort of letting you when to sort of, you know, give you little corrections and when to let you flail, and you know, he has this amazing thing of making you feel more confident than you feel, and especially with Tom's work, which, you know, especially for American, or as an American, I feel like I was just mangling his language for, you know, most of the time, and so Sam was, you know, sort of, it'll be fine, you know. Yeah.
No, because Maggie was saying when she cracked it, it was great.
Yeah, I haven't. Oh, I'm looking forward to that experience.
You were so wonderful in this. Stop that. Working with this cast, what it's been like.
I mean, come on. You know, I'd worked with Maggie a few times before, and Cynthia I've worked with and known since I was like a teenager. So it's actually incredibly moving to me to be working with Cynthia after having known her since we were like teenagers here in the city. You know, I saw her in this when I was 14, 13. And so working with her on this play is, I can't really, I mean, if you had told me when I was the 14-year-old me that someday I'd be doing a production of this play with her and with these people, I mean, my head would have literally exploded, you know, yeah.
And what do you love about the play itself and his words and his language?
I mean, all of his plays, the construction and the wit and I mean, obviously that's, everyone knows about that. And I think one of the reasons why this play strikes such a chord with people is that it's about relationships and love, you know, which people can relate to often more than, say, like physics or Russian history or Czechoslovakian, you know, politics. And so to be able to relate to it on that level and enjoy the sort of Escher-like, you know, construction of like things, everything meaning 9 things and jokes repeating and patterns, and I think it's just incredible. For me, that's what I love about it, and I find it really challenging to sort of, in a really exciting way, to kind of like try to get the clarity of his thought across and the wit, you know, which that's what I every night. It's you never feel complacent with his. You're like, okay, like let's try to, you know, it feels like trying to. You feel like you're driving like a really, really beautifully designed sports car. And you're just like trying to keep it like within the lane. Yeah.
And what was it like having Tom in the rehearsal room? Because he was there early on, and then right before you started previews. Talk about what it was like having him around.
Well, what's wonderful about Tom is that he, you know, so many writers might just sort of rest on their, you know, sort of say, well, you know, it's been done, you can do it. And he is really involved in all of his major productions, and he tinkers with it, and I think he feels very strongly that it's about the event. It's not just about this frozen text, and he wants to be in there with the company and the individual production and tinkering and making things fit this director's vision a little bit, and you know, this company, so that, you know, so we were taking lines from other productions, you know, and he's incredibly he's admirably unprecious about, you know, I mean, he's not like, he certainly doesn't say what you want. No, but he really, you know, he's very considerate. He sort of says, yes, actually, that might work that better. You know, he's just very, I mean, you would imagine someone of his position might just be like, you know, don't, this is it, don't mess with it. And he really cares, and I think wants it. It feels very strongly that it's theater is a living thing, yeah.
So when you took your bow tonight, do you remember what you were thinking?
Yeah, well, the first thing I looked down and I saw my mother and my sister in the front row, which I never actually looked, and so I didn't know they were right there, so I was surprised. And then I was trying to figure out where my wife was sitting, and I couldn't find her. So that was what I was thinking, and then I was thinking, I can't wait to until this is all over.
It's opening night. It's the real thing all over again. How do you feel?
I know. I feel very excited. We're very excited for the party. We've had 32 previews. That's a lot of previews. But we're so proud of the play, and I think we're so happy as a company, not just to be doing this wonderful play, but to have found each other. I think we're a very happy company.
What's it been like for you, because you're revisiting again, because you were in the original production? Is it surreal, just certain things, when you first started this new production?
It is surreal, because the original was so deeply etched in my mind, because I was in it for so long, and it was so, such a landmark production. But as the original production used to weigh so much more heavily, and now as the time passes, they're starting to sort of level out, and this one is starting to become, the real one, and that one's starting to become the one of the past.
I spoke to Kenneth Welsh and Peter Gallagher on the carpet going in, because I had the fondest memories of seeing you all in the original.
Yes, of course.
And I asked them what their fondest memories were, and they said the note sessions between Tom and Mike. Tell me. And a lot of them had to do with you, with a word that Peter had used with a P or something.
Really?
Do you remember? Yeah. So then Tom had explained, sort of like a little rock on the top of the water. Peter remembers this. It's going to be in our red carpet.
About it. No, but note sessions with Mike Nichols, I mean, they're just like dessert. They're just like, he has so many great stories, but the way he expresses, he doesn't just give you a note like be louder, be faster, be what, every note is like a work of art. And just to watch also Mike Nichols smoke is, you could just watch him forever.
And having Tom Stoppard back in the room again, he was there during rehearsals. Talk about the time you spent with him again.
He's such a learned person, and he's so educated, and he's so smart, and his mind is able to synthesize so many different, texts and bits of history and all the things that he knows that I don't know. But even though he knows so much, he's so in the moment, and he's such a good listener, because oftentimes you think, oh, you're an intellectual, you just talk at me. But he has all this, but it doesn't mean that he's not listening. He's just very open. It's just the well is very deep. There's a lot of knowledge to draw on, but it doesn't mean that he's not completely in the moment and completely with you and wants to hear what you have to say.
And talk about the new role you're playing and what you love about her so far.
I'm playing Charlotte, and I love her. She is delicious in every way. She's very glamorous. She's very bitchy. She's very sarcastic. She's sort of miserable, but she's sort of a good sport about the fact that she's miserable. And then she gets to be kind of heartbroken. I mean, there's just so many things to play there.
And just talk a little bit about this beautiful ensemble of actors you get to work with under the direction of Sam Gold.
Yeah. I mean, these parts are each one of them so juicy, and I think that Sam Gold has found exactly the right, I think Henry fits him to a T, and I think Maggie is reinventing Annie in ways I never even dreamed of. And Josh Hamilton, who plays Max, he's so perfect. We go back a long time, and when I signed on, I said, who you should get for Max? You should get Josh Hamilton. And Sam Gold said, well, that's exactly who I'm thinking of getting. So, great minds think alike, and fools never differ. That's what my mother always said.
So my final question is, when you took your bow tonight, do you remember what you were thinking?
It's so fun to take the bow to that wonderful Da-Do Run Run, that wonderful song, and we get to sing it, and you really feel united with the audience, because for a play about love that has so much pain and heartbreak in it, it ends in a very good place, and the audience is so elated, and you're elated with them, and it's just a wonderful way to be able to go out.